crash, too many these past few years. I think of you and your crumpled car, something American, too big for this island. What kind, what colour the paint is, and if someone bought you a kitsch ornament for the mirror, if your maps are neat or dog-eared, coffee splattered, and whether it is marred by rust or dust, I don't know, and this distresses me. Okay, yes, I'm a consummate professional, and I always decide what I'm reading before I get on stage, of course, but not for that one. Anyway, this one is one about my father, who happened to pass away when I was very small. This poem is called An Apologia for Thinking My Mother Mad for Chasing a Young Man in Shorts 2 weeks after my father's death. That time I looked up at a bearded face while pulling a pint. I swore it was your grey eyes. I half expected to hear Dasher barking at your heels for a thick cut-glass ashtray of beer. I saw you walking down the cobbled street, another smock-dressed little girl clutching your thumb. I saw you by the kitchen scales, tar-black weight in hand, and I remembered how you showed me the inside of a mushroom, its strange gills. I saw your brass pin glowing, throwing out rays from the Paul Smith suit you were buried in. And I saw those roots of plants that love to grow above you, hitting you sideways, claiming your bones. This one is, it's about a painting that was in the bedroom of someone who I used to love. It's called, the title is the name of the painting, which is Why Do Ducks Wear Eyeliner When They Don't Even Dance? Because I never imagined that I would search in the cupboards of a caravan comically far from Denton home for evidence that you had loved me, or that I would find only the sketchbook with the outlines for that terrible oil painting, with a false eyelashed lobster that leant against the walls of your red bedroom, where I would lie with the shutters closed till you came home from work. I was always late to meet you. The clock hands seemed to wave too fast as I sought out unwrung tights or swiped a smut of mascara from my nose. I would imagine you in the pub, seated on worn burgundy velvet, in your thin scarf wound tight like a cravat, with your two-tone half-pint, and the charade you made of rolling a cigarette. Your hands poised above your sketchbook, the paper that buttermilk yellow, and your ink flowing out like my smudged coal into creatures with feathers and fins, masked men. I was trying to find my Manchester poems, and this is another one that, well, it was written about a place in Manchester. It's called Magazine Launch. In this room, a pub above a pub that I visited years ago, one Boxing Day, my first in Manchester with another lover, I sit now bedecked and lipsticked, as I hand over tarot cards backed with the exact fake brass of cigarette packets to the boy who had me on the floor last night in between fire alarms. As I sit now, clutching the now plentiful flesh of my upper arms with my noticeably well-fed fingernails, I search the face of the writer now reading their story of Bedlam. And as she mentions the holy smoking room, and the scattering of ashtrays' contents thrown broken over graffiti, I know these ashtrays, the now dispersed fug, and I search her face and sheening nail varnish to know if this, like the others, is a fiction. As you might have guessed, I write a lot about art and artists and all of that. And this one is another one about painting, but it's a painting by Mervyn Peake that you can see in Manchester Art Gallery, and it's called The Glass Blower. It's the guy who wrote Gormenghast, he's a multi-talented man. So this is this poem. Our geography is all wrong. I am up here near your birthplace, you're down there close to mine. And we don't speak, so I can't tell you about this painting of a jugular glassblower and how it made me wish you had never given up oils. Last I heard, you were pacing the interlocking, curving court lines of a school gym, making mop strokes. How much time do I have left, by the way? Does anyone know how much time I've got left? Sorry, I meant to look at my watch before I came on, but I was in a rush. 2-3 minutes? Okay, right, I will end on this, my last poem. By the way, this little book that I have many copies of these, and they're but £3, and they have loads of pictures in that aren't by me, so they're actually good. There's poems as well. This last poem is, if any of you are fans of Allen Ginsberg, you will recognise some of the techniques used in this poem. It's not a howl, it just uses some of his techniques. I wouldn't dare call it a howl. It's called For Ruth, Betty Blue, and all the fucked up women I ever knew, who has marked their skin and body with the darkness in their head, who has offered up their body for money and found it taken from their hands without payment, who has been there with the white walls and all that noise, who has felt trapped by their own skull, who has been beaten by the one they loved, who has offered their limitless love and found it rejected, who has been made afraid to walk the city night despite lamplight, who has been made to feel their body is inadequate, that it makes them unworthy of ornament, who has changed their body, hair, skin, face, altered it so that you know exactly how fucked up and ugly they feel, who has cried wolf, who has cried for help but too softly, who has been made to feel their gender is at fault, who has lost the plot, lost their keys, lost their voice, their face, their shoes, their self-respect, their virginity, God, who they seriously doubt exists, only knows where. Who has abused pharmaceuticals, who has been abused by pharmaceuticals, white coats, nurses, police, and the rest. Who has been to hell and back, who has been to court to point the finger, who has been scared and alone, scared in a crowd, scared in the sea, scared of their own grey matter, who has been blacker and blacker in thought than the sky at night, who has failed to see the beauty in simplicity, who has forgotten the laying on of hands can be comforting communication, who has wept and flooded the room like Alice, who has fallen in half drowned like Alice, who does not think they deserve to bask in the sun like a seal bent on a rock, who does not think the world owes them anything, who does not think their brain, their witty, artistic, sarcastic, maladjusted brain is worth nothing. Their achievements mere bones of things, no flesh and tendons to articulate them and make them real. They have had bones broken. They have wanted to break their bones just to feel the bones proof they are not automatons, who make no bones about it, who have felt boneless, skinless, lacking in backbone, felt they have not got a good bone in their body. All bad bones, bones riddled with some sickness eating them from the inside out, who have been down to the bare bones of their person, who have sought out bones. Bones hang round their necks of dead mothers, brothers, fathers, friends, sisters, strangers, lovers. Thank you.